Hello, all, and welcome back to another episode of Season 3 of TechRise. I'm Desiree Vargas Wrigley. I'm the Executive Director of TechRise by P33 and a two-time Latina founder here in Chicago. For those of you new to TechRise, we are a weekly pitch competition that we started in partnership with Verizon to help support Chicagoland's overlooked founders in overlooked industries to be able to go from idea all the way to exit. But specifically, we focus on the friends and family and idea stage for founders. And each week, 5 competitors compete to raise somewhere between $25,000 and $50,000. Today, they're competing for $25,000 as part of our partnership with Get City's Gender Equality in Tech. And our focus today is women in health and wellness. So we are so excited to bring 5 incredible women identifying founders to the stage. But before we do that, I do want to say a couple of things and just acknowledge what today is. Today, it has been a very hard, more than year with war happening in areas of our world. But specifically this week, as the crisis in the Middle East emerged, and today specifically with the threats that are happening all over the world, we at TechRise recognize that it is very hard for many of our colleagues in the industry, and we're sending our prayers to all of your loved ones for peace and safety. There's other interesting news that happened this week, though, that's also very relevant to us, and that is that California just passed Bill 54, which is a huge step towards diversity and equity in our venture ecosystem. So now every California headquartered VC, any investor there, any startup there now has to report on diversity metrics, which means that there will be transparency and visibility into how much funding truly is going to support founders of color, disabled founders, founders of certain age demos of sexual orientation. And so we think that this is the beginning of a huge opportunity for founders across the country, but especially our TechRise founders here in Chicago and Illinois, who often find their funding sources from outside of Illinois. So we are, with that happiness, excited to move forward with this competition and welcome some of these incredible judges that we have today. So first, I'd like to welcome Paul Burton, who is a co-founder and managing partner of 2Flow Ventures. 2Flow is a startup studio and early-stage healthcare investor. It aims to facilitate the flow of innovation, talent, and other resources to and fro underserved communities and reduce disparities in healthcare outcomes. It presently has a portfolio of 8 companies, which employ over 100 people and collectively have raised over $85 million in capital. Paul has served as the CEO and CFO of numerous startups, including Vivicell, BioResQ Pharma, and Cancer IQ. So, Paul, thanks so much for being here. Next, we have Barbara White. After 25 years in big corporate consulting, working in Fortune 500 companies, the U.S. federal agencies, startups, and C-level executives, she launched the Avoca Group to apply these skills and experiences to help small businesses and leaders navigate challenges and transitions. In her work as a consultant and advisor for startups and small businesses, an entrepreneur in residence, an angel investor, she consults with dozens of business owners and leaders each year about their strategies and how to grow their businesses, their teams, and themselves. Barb, it's nice to have you here. And then we have John David Willingham. John David has spent the better part of 2 decades developing and financing innovative, values-aligned businesses. He's helped build or advise a diversity of investment firms, including Highmore, Starwood Energy Group, Pace Healthcare Capital, and Vantage Point Capital Partners. He's also been deeply involved in the growth and governance of a myriad of companies. A trusted advisor and partner of prominent private and institutional investors, John David has enabled billions of dollars of growth financing, helped shape regulatory and legislative frameworks at all levels of government, and worked closely with boards and management teams to devise, execute the long-haul mission-critical activities. So, John David, thanks for joining us too. All right, and so let's get started. Our first competitor today is going to be Kelly McKay-Lumbreras from PainNavigator. Oops, I'm wrong. UpTrials. I'm so sorry. There was a change to my script. All right, so we have UpTrials going first, and that is going to be Renuka Agarwal. I'm sorry about that.
Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be able to pitch today with these other amazing companies. So just give me a second here to get set up. All right, can everybody see my screen?
We can.
Okay, wonderful. And then Lucy, will you get the timer going?
Yep, when you start.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's go. Hi everyone, my name is Renuka Agarwal and I'm the co-founder and CEO of UpTrials. UpTrials is the first software solution for clinical trial hiring, enabling more trials to run more successfully. I think clinical trials are super cool and are ripe for disruption, and I hope you think so too by the end of this pitch. Clinical trials are a $1 trillion growing industry globally. and are responsible for the many food, medical, and cosmetic products that you and I use regularly. Clinical trials require an army to execute across sponsors, the contract research organizations or CROs that they hire to project manage, and ultimately the hospitals and clinics who actually run the trials. Unfortunately, 50% of trial teams are understaffed, meaning that 80% of clinical trials don't start, take longer, or ultimately terminate and start late. This is particularly acute at the community sites that treat the majority of the US population, meaning that understaffing also impacts patient diversity in clinical trials. We're initially focused on sites as customers, given that they face the most acute need. Faced with 50% year-on-year turnover and increasing trial demand, sites are constantly hiring. Every day that a trial is understaffed can lose a site $2,000 in revenue. Finding the right talent with the right skills is also critical as trials become more specialized. Let's take a look at an example with two of our favorite Chicago institutions, AbbVie and UChicago. This phase 1 trial was intended to take only 6 months, but given understaffing plus the need to hire someone with the wrong skills that added onboarding time, this trial has now been delayed by a year. Employers are spending over $500,000 annually on this problem. Innovo and Elligo are two of the largest research networks in the US, collectively touching 150 million diverse patient lives. They are paying us to solve this problem for them. Unlike other competitors, UpTrials quickly connects employers to our pre-screened talent pool and algorithmically matches employers and job seekers on clinical research criteria using our proprietary technology for full-time and contract roles. Think about us as the Upwork for clinical research. Clinical research is poised to be the next big healthcare gig economy, analogous to nursing, where we've seen companies get valuations north of 90 million. As you can see on the right, most of these tasks can be done remotely and can be parsed out by function, making this industry ripe for contract and remote work. Our customers are mainly using staffing firms today that are manual and inefficient. Other technology solutions don't address research or don't address research very well. We are differentiated by our technology, the quality of our talent pool, and the value of our data. We see a $5 billion initial US market opportunity. We will charge our customers who are employers either a $200,000 annual subscription for an unlimited number of hires or a performance-based model where they pay $10,000 for each hire made. So they can choose the model that makes the most sense for their hiring volume. For job seekers, the platform will be free, although they will have a premium annual subscription option. With just $5K of bootstrap funds and 3 months of full-time work, we are a revenue-generating company with 2 customers and over 1,000 professionals in our database. Our customer pipeline includes some of the largest research institutions in the world, and we're currently actively focused on completing product development. I used to be a senior director in business development for clinical trials at Tempest, which is where understaffing made my job impossible, and that's why I founded UpTrials. I've also worked at LinkedIn, so UpTrials uniquely blends my backgrounds. I'm a proud Chicago founder. I got my MBA at Chicago Booth, where I also married a classmate, and Eugene, our co-founder and CTO, is also based in Chicago. He formerly led Explorer Surgical as their CTO, a surgical software company based in Chicago that exited to GHX in 2021. The 25K would enable us to complete product development and model our product at conferences, enabling us to generate 350K plus in revenue. We are so excited to be part of the ecosystem, and thank you so much for this opportunity. We're open for questions.
All right, judges, you can come on, and Renuka, you can turn off the screen share if you could.
Sure.
All right, Paul, you want to kick things off?
Your outstanding presentation. Could you tell us exactly how you might use the 25K that if you win, you will be awarded?
Absolutely. So our CTO, Eugene, who's also on the phone here, the 25K would 100% cover our MVP costs, which would be incredible. You know, that's something that we're currently actively trying to raise funding for. And so being able to have a fully functional product that we can roll out with the customers that we have today, and then actually be able to use that product at some of the remaining conferences in the year. For example, Florence Healthcare is hosting a Research Revolution conference in a few months. Being able to use that 25K to have a functional product that we could display at conferences would be really meaningful in getting more contracts through the door.
Great.
Barb?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great presentation. I've been in clinical trials myself, so I feel the pain. I guess two short related questions. One, you said you had a few thousand potential applicants already signed up. And then how are you, I guess, recruiting more, given that you're still at MVP stage? And then how does your cost compare to some of those other competitors that you mentioned?
Yeah, those are great questions. And I'm really happy that this problem resonates with you. So in terms of how we've built that database, so partnerships are critical. Clinical Research Fast Track is a research training organization that brings students, job switchers, foreign doctors into the field. And so they've supplied us with 800 professionals through their database. So that's been a really great partnership. We're looking at partnerships with other institutions like ACRP, SOCRA, and the remaining have been targeted outreach. In terms of how we're going to get like a consistent systemic pipeline year on year, again, partnerships are going to be huge. And so what we envision is being integrated with every, university, every career transition program, such that we are the first stop for anyone who's thinking about entering the field. In terms of how we compare from a cost standpoint, our main competitor staffing firms, they typically charge about 25 to 30% of an initial year salary. If you think about 70K as the average research coordinator salary, you're looking at about 14K plus. And so the 10K is at a slight discount because we recognize that our solution is a little bit more work than fully outsourcing it to a staffing firm. But because we do see ourselves as being higher quality, that's why we're at almost par with a slight discount.
Thank you.
John David.
Great questions, Barb. That was top of my list as well in terms of build out on pipeline. Thanks so much for your time. I was just curious if you could also comment on your sort of customer pipeline. Obviously, it's going to be anonymized, but if you can give a sense of where that pipeline is looking.
Absolutely. So I kind of flashed on the screen, but we are in touch with a lot of the big AMCs. So currently UChicago, Johns Hopkins, UCSF, and Northwestern. So continuing to talk to the large academic centers, understanding that they have a longer sales cycle because their research tends to be a little bit more decentralized across the org. Our initial customers that we secured, Innovo and Eligo, those are research networks. So they're kind of smaller to mid-size. They can move a little bit faster. And so as we look at our customer pipeline, we expect to continue to see early wins from additional research networks. But next year, we do expect to close like our first big hospital. And obviously, they hired a higher hiring volume per year than the research networks.
And are you finding any resistance to your pricing model on the larger subscription plan, or are they starting at sort of the 10,000 sort of trial basis? What are you seeing in terms of the uptake on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So our first initial pilots that we signed with the 2 customers have been basically a no subscription pay for performance. So no resistance to that model. If you look at my revenue projections, the bulk of our revenue early on.
I gotta cut us off. I'm
Sure.
sorry, we're at the 8-minute mark, but great job, Renuka. All right, next we are going to welcome Lemonaide up with Sybil Berry. And judges, if you go video off. Thanks.
Hello.
Hello. I can see you, but not your screen.
Okay, just a moment.
It looks good to go.
All right, very good. Thank you so much. Hello, my name is Sybil Berry, and I'm founder of Lemonaide. It's the cane you want to carry. The car came out of nowhere. This is me post-surgery 2016. 6 months later, I moved on to my cane. I needed it to be mobile, but the typical cane was antiquated, clinical, impersonal, and poorly designed. Silly flowers and leopard patterns, those choices didn't address my style sensibilities or how I felt about myself. And I wasn't alone. Today's contemporary cane makes people feel vulnerable, old, and socially stigmatized. Here's what people say about canes. It's okay, I guess. I look weak. My mom will not carry it. She doesn't want to look old. It makes me, people are looking at me funny. So what's the solution? The solution is Lemonaide. Lemonaide makes adaptable, versatile, fashion savvy, smart canes for people, collapsing canes for a variety of people with stability and mobility challenges. Lemonaide is attuned to the lifestyle and needs of the modern user, reducing stigma and increasing usability. going to change it.
Go down to the little next to the 5, 5, and 15 over to the left. The
Yeah.
bottom left, and then hit that little right arrow.
Oh, okay. Do it that way. All right. Thank you. Sorry.
You're welcome. No worries.
So what is the projected impact of a better cane? Saving lives, saving costs, and increasing socialization, which also leads to more mobility. Lemonaide is a system. This is how it works. There is a poor cane and an ergo handle that the customer receives. For the purchase of various add-ons, there's an opportunity for customization, adaptability, and versatility. While our mission is to prevent falls, the brand is modern, colorful, stylish, ergonomic, inspirational, and fun. Our first customer are individuals 65 plus and their loved ones. The second customer are individuals dealing with chronic illness or disability, and they are individuals between the ages of 14 and 75. And the same for our third customer, same age range, recovering from surgery or procedure. The market size currently is $975 million in the US. However, we will be focused on the Chicago market, where there are over 300,000 ambulatory disabled. Our efforts will be grassroots efforts working to visit senior centers, health centers, working at health fairs, also relying on local media, social media, and word of mouth, as well as selling our products.
Oh, she froze. We'll give her a few more seconds. All right. Team, I think we might have to bring her back on later. It actually hasn't happened before. All right. Well, while we're getting Sybil back on, I think we're going to go on to our next competitor. So with that, Monika, can you join us for Inclusive Plus?
Of course.
All right. And team, if you could help me pull Sybil's presentation down. Sorry about this, everyone. This is the first. Right, so we can see your screen, but not you yet. All right, there you go. I'm gonna go video off and you can start whenever you're ready.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having us. My name is Monika. I'm one of the co-founders of Inclusive Plus. At Inclusive Plus, we work to improve health equity for LGBTQ patients through our provider education and directory. The number of LGBTQIA patients has doubled over the past decade. And by 2023, an estimated 14.3% of US adults will identify as LGBTQ+. But the healthcare system is not ready. There is currently $50 billion in unnecessary healthcare costs due to LGBTQ+ healthcare disparities. From hundreds of interviews and rigorous analysis, we identified two key issues driving inequity: lack of provider education and lack of patient access. Only 4.4% of providers felt they had adequate training in the needs of the community. Patients experience negative interactions, often leading to postponement in care, ultimately leading to higher incidence of disease and increased cost of care. And that's where we come in. We are a B2B2C platform that trains clinicians via our personalized education and then helps patients find those clinicians via our directory. A clinician gains access when their employer, a health system or medical group, purchases a per year per user subscription. They start by taking our proprietary assessment, which generates personalized recommended courses within cultural and medical competency regarding LGBTQIA care. Once trained, clinicians can be featured on our directory so patients can easily find them. We're starting with the CME market and then entering the payer market. As mentioned, there's a $50 billion cost premium due to disparities in care, and our platform can target $32 billion of that. When speaking with payers, we know that they typically pay out 20% of cost savings to a partner like us. So for example, if we were to save a payer 100 million, we would receive $20 million in revenue. Payers are our end goal, and this is how we plan to get to them. We are in steps 1 and 2 with a paid pilot with Mindful Care, and we're in discussions to launch with Innovative Care, CVS Minute Clinic, UChicago, and Northwestern. Our initial customers help track improved clinician knowledge and comfort, as well as patient health outcomes and satisfaction. In the future, we'll work with self-insured employers who bear the financial costs of insuring their employees. We've spoken with PepsiCo and Target, and working with them will allow for us to easily track cost savings metrics, which will be able to show payers that Inclusive Plus drives down the cost of care. We are the only company to create the full ecosystem, with both being a fully vetted directory with accreditation courses covering both medical and cultural competency. We're raising $750K to gain 4 health systems. The $25,000 from the TechRise competition would go towards sales and marketing, and then also creating 2 in-house continuing medical education courses. Our impact will continue to grow as 1 in 5 Gen Z adults identify as LGBTQ, which is more than any other generation. And we have regulation pushing us forward. State and medical boards are starting to have providers take CME courses in HIV, AIDS, implicit bias, all courses that we provide on our platform. And we're the team to do it. We're made up of healthcare providers and members of the community. We understand what the needs are, all the way from medical education to patient experience. 2 of our 3 founders are clinician, Anna being an MD, MBA. I'm a pharmacist, and Lori is our business anchor coming to Inclusive Plus from product management at CVS. We're really creating this company not as a Band-Aid, but as a true solution to the issues that we're seeing.
Okay, I got to cut you off and go to, perfect, to Q&A with
and
the judges.
That's the end. So
Perfect.
helps us eliminate healthcare disparities. And
All right.
I look forward to any questions.
Barb, can you just kick us off, and then can we go off of display mode?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, great presentation. I'm curious, so you talked about how you're going to use the money for sales and marketing. I'm specifically curious about your tech stack and the tech parts of your team. So your team's very well-rounded in terms of kind of the medical, the pharma, the kind of that side of the relationship. So who's doing the technology and making sure that that side of the business and that platform is going to be scalable and sustainable?
Yeah, so I actually have personal experience creating departments and standardizing workflows. I launched over 18 different ambulatory clinics at University of Chicago Medicine. So, standardization and scaling, that's at the heart of what I enjoy, actually. So in thinking about how we're designing things, we do have a team member that's in UI and UX, and we do have a tech advisor that helps to make sure that, with the growth, we're able to handle that. And how do we continue to pivot and add on other different type of specialties to ensure that that part is seamless. So we've done a lot of thinking at the forefront to ensure that, okay, this is built out to scale fairly quickly.
John David.
Thanks so much. I was just wondering, obviously your revenue model really hinges upon the quality of operationalization of, your purported savings and value add versus other exogenous factors that could muddy the waters or be argued to do so by the the consumer. Could you talk a bit how you're sort of drilling down and operationalizing those factors? What metrics are you going to use to be paid on, et cetera?
Yeah, of course. So right now we're really looking at HEDIS scores and patient satisfaction. We know that those are items that help. Right now we're focusing on health systems, right? So with health systems being our market, we're really focusing on what metrics do they care about and how do we continue to drive some of their value-based model payments in order to help increase revenue generation as well as decreasing cost containment. But then in the future, as we go to the payer market, we hope to show cost savings. So understanding, okay, if patients are receiving preventative care, is that reducing hospital readmission, right? Is that decreasing surgery? If we're giving them more access to preventative care, will that ultimately decrease the cost of care that an LGBTQI patient has?
Oh.
Yes. So, you made mention of the fact that you're going to be focused on health systems primarily in terms of sourcing customers. The health systems are right now in a sort of retrenching mode, looking for dollars. What might be your plan in terms of looking at alternative customers, such as you mentioned payers? How would you go about pursuing payers as customers?
Yeah, so actually we've had a lot of inbound interest outside of health systems, right? So medical staffing companies are wanting for their providers to be trained. There's so many different digital tech companies that have been created within mental health, expanding mental health providers, whether it's licensed counselors or social work. We're getting inbound interest from all of these other various companies to help train their providers. So I think not only is it health systems, but also all of the other digital technology companies that have been created where, providers aren't properly trained in how to care for the LGBTQ community. So this is kind of like a baseline assessment that any provider.
Cut us off. I'm sorry. But Monika, thank you so much for being flexible and hopping on. And Sybil is coming back to us. She'll be the last one to compete. But Monika, great job. And thank you for being flexible and coming on so fast. So judges, we're going to have you go back off screen. And next, we're going to invite Visualize Healthcare with Dr. Uju Okoye.
Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
We can hear and see you. Perfect.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Obianuju Okoye. You can call me Uju. I'm the founder and CEO of Visualize Healthcare in Chicago. Look at this photo of a 12-year-old girl in class standing next to an image of Nelson Mandela. The unseen weight on her shoulders, her father critically ill in a hospital, diagnosis, type 2 diabetes. That girl is me. I stand before you today, not only as a health tech entrepreneur, but as a daughter who experienced firsthand the crucial importance of coordinated care. We've come together to solve a serious problem. Medicaid patients are hard to care for. They often suffer chronic conditions that are exacerbated by social risk factors like food and housing insecurities. Now let's talk about federally qualified health centers, FQHCs, which serve 1 in 5 Medicaid patients. They are government safety net providing comprehensive care, but they take on a reactive care approach, which leads to missed appointments, delayed results, and complications. Now, the government provides care coordination funds for Medicaid patients on a monthly basis, but without the right platform and process in place, FQHCs cannot access these funds. Introducing VDAP, our AI-powered, easy-to-use platform, which integrates with any EHR. It automates and personalizes the entire patient care process, including appointment scheduling, medication reminders, booking transportation, and more. But what sets it apart is that we also offer the service of pre-trained care coordinators, so patients are more likely to stay on track and receive needed support. We also help track the required federal quality measures, which the FQHCs need to stay open. With a doctorate in medicine, an MBA in healthcare management, and a master's in epidemiology, combined with my experience as a chief clinical officer overseeing all clinical services, including care coordination and IT for a leading FQHC in Chicago, I bring a unique perspective. I've walked the hallways, signed the contracts. This isn't just a solution, it's a refined approach crafted by someone who knows the trenches. Backing this vision is a team with over 80 years of collective experience in healthcare, tech, and compliance. We're not just thinking big, but also wide. Of course, we have competitors, but what sets us apart are no upfront costs for our platform, so clinics can quickly tap into the government's funds and use it for care coordination. Unlike some others, we don't take patients away from the FQHCs. Instead, we increase their revenue. Now, the market potential is vast, from nearly 18,000 FQHC sites to the countless lives impacted. Our TAM of $4.6 billion annually isn't just an opportunity, it's a responsibility. By capturing even just 1 to 3 FQHC sites by October 2024, our monthly revenue would be $2 million. We champion a revenue sharing business model. FQHCs bill Medicaid by CPT code and channel about half of it to us per patient every month. It's a win-win. allowing clinics to focus on providing care while securing more revenue. Now, our platform is ready. With the $25,000 from TechRise, we'll not only enhance our AI capabilities, but quickly launch our pilot program starting right here in Chicago. We had a booth at the annual Illinois conference of FQACs last week, and we had clinics begging us to get started. I began this mission remembering my father's collapse. Thankfully, he got 25 more precious years due to care coordination. Now it's our collective call to extend this care to the underserved. This isn't just the start of journey. It's a personal crusade to reshape our community. With your support, even by the end of 2023, we can start. This is our moment. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you.
Great job, Dr. Uju. Okay, judges, can you come on? And John David, if you can kick us off.
Thanks so much. I think it was a really great presentation. I was really impressed by the quality of the team you have for this specific approach. I think that with both a chief clinical officer background and a head of IT, it's the perfect background for a CEO in this. Given that unique perspective, I was really wondering if you could speak to what you're seeing as the biggest pain points, the biggest points of inertia for adoption and conversion. You have as an insider of a perspective as anyone could have on this. If you can't crack this nut with your team, who can? What are you seeing as your biggest pain points?
See, part of the issues, when I served in the role, a lot of tech companies would come and, pitch to me their product. But FQACs, you have to understand how FQACs work. They don't need complex platforms. They have a hard time. Staff has a hard time even using the EHR. So you need something that's simple, but is able to meet the three goals of FQAC, which is to improve patient health outcomes, to make money, and to abide by the federal government's guidelines so they can stay open. And those are the 3 points. And once you hit all 3 points, it's an easy sell.
All right, Paul.
Yes, excellent presentation. And indeed, you do have a very impressive team. My question is around your longer term capital needs. You made mention of what you would do with the 25K. What would you think, what would be necessary to give you a 2-year or 18-month runway?
Well, we start, our pilots are paid. So from kickoff, the funds are there, the care coordination funds are there. The government is increasing it every year because of the complications that does happen with chronic care, particularly over the pandemic. Things have gotten worse. So we don't necessarily need, it's not capital intensive because we start receiving payment once we start our pilot.
Sure. Thank you.
Barb?
Hi, great presentation. I'd like to spend maybe a couple of seconds looking at your business model. I know we didn't have a lot of time to kind of go over it. So I think I understand the basics of how who your actual paying customers are, but also I'd like you to talk a little bit about the complexities of working across the different states with a Medicaid model, given the complexities, the differences, all of the variations therein.
Sure. So we're starting off working directly with the FQHCs, but by next year, we're going to also include and start working directly with the managed care plans, right? Cook County, which has the largest Medicaid managed care plan in Illinois, had launched an RFP last year. They weren't able to fill it. They've launched it again earlier on this year. They weren't able to fill it because they were looking for people to take on the care coordination of their patients with chronic diseases, over 460,000 patients. So this is at the top of, just about everywhere. Care coordination is very important, particularly because of the pandemic. Patients that were not able to have their follow-up visits have gotten worse. And we're trying to prevent another breakout from happening.
We have a few more seconds left. If there's any final questions?
Sure.
Sorry.
Did you bid for that Cook County? Did you bid for that Cook County work?
Well, they wanted the companies that had 2 years of Medicaid experience. So we were going to come in as a subcontractor, but then no one won the contract.
Right. Okay.
We have 14 more seconds if there's one more thought.
Yeah, at the conference last week, I had the opportunity, of course, to talk with a lot of executives, FQHCs, and as well as the leader of the umbrella group, because the conference of the
wait, we're done. I'm so sorry. I thought you were going to get to the point a little bit faster. Sorry about that. But thank you so much. Great job with the pitch and presentation, judges. Great questions. All right. Next, we're going to invite Kelly to the stage for PainNavigator.
Thanks so much, Desiree. All right, let me go ahead and share.
All right, we can see everything.
Awesome. Okay, great. Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly McKay, CEO of PainNavigator. This is a picture of my brother and I, but I want to take you back in time before this photo. The first time that my brother took OxyContin was after a skateboarding ankle injury when he was only 16. Taking that pill honestly changed the trajectory of his entire life. His addiction resulted in 4 trips to rehab, 2 times in jail, a period of homelessness, multiple overdoses, and a lifelong fight for his sobriety that we're still dealing with on a daily basis. He is one of the 52 million Americans today who suffer with chronic pain. Yet opioids continue to be the go-to solution for people with pain. And it's definitely not the provider's fault. Given the system, the health system that we've built, driving lasting behavior change is extremely difficult with the time constraints and limited resources. And this is an even bigger problem, health equity problem. Low-income Americans and minorities often don't have access to high-touch support solutions. So prescription medicine like opioids fill a void, but they also create the risk for life-destroying addiction. And that's exactly why we created PainNavigator, to give patients like my brother a better shot. In 2021, we set out with the mission of transforming pain management and substance use in order to improve outcomes for these patients. PainNavigator is a tech-enabled service that tackles chronic pain through 4 components. We tackle the mind through daily educational programming. We tackle the body through alternating movement playlists of yoga and mindfulness and exercise therapy. We provide coaching through journals and access to a certified health coach. And we also do tracking through offering pain and progress tracking, which not only helps keep patients motivated, but also provides the data back to their providers to fulfill insurance requirements. We've proven our approach works. We ran a research trial in partnership with Ascension, Illinois, and our outcomes far exceeded benchmarks of opioids. 59% of patients had a clinically significant pain score reduction, and our trial resulted in a peer-reviewed research paper. My co-founders are leaders in pain management. Dr. Dave is the director of pain management at Ascension, and Dr. Kosas is director of health psychology also at Ascension. And these are the key members of our tech and business team and some of our advisors. There's 2,000 independent pain clinics. We're starting small with pain clinics that we have a relationship with, and we are targeting securing 10 of those in the next year, giving us that SAM of 200K. After that, we'll expand to the larger opportunity in pain clinics and then beyond health systems and insurers. Our business model is B2B. We charge clinics a one-time per patient enrollment fee. And the average additional revenue that our clinics are getting is $300 per patient per month. Patients are generally enrolled in our program for about 3 months, and minus our PainNavigator fee, it's about an 8-time ROI for our clinics. And with 200 patients per year, gives us a $20K annual contract value. Our patients describe living with chronic pain as daily psychological warfare. And with a patient satisfaction score of 93%, we're so excited that over 90% of our patients have won or are winning the battle against pain. We're providing with our patients with the tools that they need in the clinics that they already know and are frequenting for their pain management services. And with this model, we've helped over 500 patients to date. We've also partnered with some of the top academic and health systems and accelerator programs. And now we're leveraging our progress to focus on expanding our customer base and getting into revenue. The 25K today would go to our sales and marketing efforts to increase our reach with these clinics. PainNavigator is proud to be a tool for patients in pain and an ally to patients like my brother. Thank you. I look forward to your questions.
Great job, Kelly. Thank you. All right. Paul, we're going to start with you.
Yes, excellent job. Very needed, big unmet medical need. Tell me a bit about what you think the competitive landscape might be like in this space.
Absolutely. So what we're seeing in our sales conversations is that when we focus on these independent pain clinics, the competitors are actually standard of care. So we're not replacing a digital solution. we're replacing the opioid prescriptions or referrals to PT. And the clinics that we're really resonating with are the ones that are seeking additional revenue, mostly serving a Medicare population, and are not heavily prescribing or not at all prescribing opioid prescriptions. So we're filling that revenue generation need for them. But as we look at the larger competitive landscape, right, it's saturated with the PT vendor, like PT replacements, and some of those prescription digital therapeutics. How we differentiate in that larger landscape is that we focus on true chronic pain, which are patients that have had pain, in our case, mostly over 3 years, and we provide whole person care. So that's our big differentiation, is a clinically validated whole person care approach.
Thank you.
Hi. Could you tell me a little bit more, be more specific when you say you're going to use the 25,000 for sales and marketing, what exactly that looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, sales, marketing, and supporting our product as we launch in some of these additional clinics. But a big one for us, the like sales and marketing approaches that we've been doing has just been direct sales. So the 25K would go to support our team to continue those efforts, as well as in January or February, the pain conferences start kicking off. So that would allow us to attend those and really expand our reach beyond just our network of pain clinics.
And David,
thank you.
Thanks so much. Could you please talk about your current profitability or path to profitability, as well as your sort of specific geographic expansion plan? If that isn't too much trouble.
Absolutely. So we've spent about a year working on a business model in digital health because it's extremely difficult. We feel really good about the win-win approach that we have now, and we're getting really great feedback. But in terms of path to profitability, like our first goal is securing a customer and just proving out the model, and then we'll really focus as we want to be a self-sustaining business, focusing on increasing that price. So we're priced really low to incentivize providers to overcome that inertia and just take the leap with us. But we'll expect to significantly increase that price where we're more at about 50% split. And then in terms of geography, we're still learning that. It's really geography agnostic. But right now, what we're finding is it's these clinics that are trying to get away from opioids, and they're serving a Medicare population. So they have that really big financial burden and need to generate additional revenue. That's who we're resonating with. So we're really just focused on that kind of profile right now.
We have time for one more, quickly.
Do you expect the pilots to turn into any real customers?
We do expect one of them, right? So we have 4 right now. 3 of them are with larger health systems, and we know that sales cycle. One is with an independent clinic. So we are working on, we've cleared the reimbursement hurdle. So we're working on just kind of returning those pilot summaries back to that clinic and converting them into a customer. So we're feeling really confident. And in terms of our pipeline, we're in late stage conversations with 7 additional clinics. We have a pipeline about 140K right now. So we're feeling confident that we're on the cusp.
Great job, Kelly. Thank you so much. And
thanks,
now we are going to invite Sybil back on I don't know if you want to finish, Sybil, or you want to just start from the beginning, but either way, we're here for you and we're excited to have the pitch. I think, right?
Hello.
Hi. You're back.
I'm back. Huh. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yes, I would like to begin again and start fresh. So here I go. I just need to share my screen with you.
All right, good to go.
Okay. Hello, my name is Sybil Berry, and I am the founder of Lemonaide. It's the cane you want to carry. The car came out of nowhere. This is me, post-surgery 2016. 6 months later, I was to move on to my cane. Now, the canes were antiquated, clinical, impersonal, and were poorly designed. There were silly flowers and leopard patterns, and none of that fit my style or sensibilities or how I felt about myself. And I was not alone. Today's contemporary cane makes people feel vulnerable, old, socially stigmatized. I've done close to 100 interviews now, and here's what people say about canes. People will look at me funny. I look weak. My mom won't carry it. She doesn't want to look old. It's okay, I guess. So what's the solution? Solution is Lemonaide, the adaptable, versatile, fashion-savvy, smart collapsing cane for a variety of people with stability and mobility challenges. Lemonaide is attuned to the lifestyle and the needs of the modern user, reducing stigma and increasing stability. So what is the impact of this better cane? It could save lives, save costs, decreasing ER and hospital visits, and increase socialization, which leads to more mobility, which also decreases costs in the long run. Lemonaide is a system, and this is how it works. The user or customer receives a cane and an ergonomic handle, and with add-ons, they're able to customize and to create an opportunity for adaptability and versatility. Think of it as a cane that is worn as an accessory and a cane wardrobe. While our mission is to seriously prevent falls, the Lemonaide brand is modern, colorful, stylish, ergonomic, inspirational, and fun, and it very much tries to mirror the vibrant lives of the people that need these devices. Our target market is customers 65 plus and their loved ones. Our second customer are individuals who are dealing with chronic illness and disability between the ages of 14 to 75. Also same age range. Customer number 3 is recovering from surgery or procedure. The market size currently is 975 million for canes in the United States. But we will be focusing on the Chicago market, where we will be doing grassroots efforts, working at health fairs, visiting senior and health centers, employing local media and social media, as well as word of mouth. Of course, we will be selling our product on the lemonaide.club website. We've so far secured 2 Empower grants from MHub. We have been invited to 2 cohorts and also 2 incubators, and we have focused in and targeted the mechanization that will allow us to collapse our cane. The 25K win would allow us to work on this process, to hire the correct personnel, and to implement it in our MVP. These are our competitors, big guys. However, our advantages are, I'm a cane user, I'm the customer, I understand the customer's pain points. For that reason, we can provide excellent user experience, elevated aesthetics and functionality, and Lemonaide will meet the needs of underserved demographics that have been ignored for far too long. Our business model consists of going from D2C in the beginning, 2023, 2024, moving to enterprise, where Lemonaide will be distributed through DME catalogs and stores, and then moving hopefully on to B2B and in 2025 plus.
Okay, let's cover the rest of it in the Q&A. All right,
great.
Judges, if you want to join us, and Barb, could you start us?
Yeah, thanks, Sybil. My mom would use this one.
Okay.
I guess I have a question about what exactly your MVP plan is.
Let me just get back to you. Do you see me?
I do.
Yep.
Okay, great. Our MVP plan. Yes. So our plan first is to move into creating this mechanism for the cane. This is what differentiates this cane from other canes in the market. It allows the user to stay in control of this device. When I was very injured, my cane was constantly falling to the floor. When I became able to take public transportation, my cane was constantly on the ground. It's dirty and also it's very painful to pick it up. So this collapsing mechanism is a game changer for many people because it allows you to put it in your seat next to you. When you go to dinner, you can manage it well. It will not be on the floor or trip anyone else. So that is our first goal with our MVP, to move on to our very strong model for the rest of our plans. This is only phase 1 for Lemonaide. So phase 1 is an aesthetic push with a collapsible mechanism.
And so just really quickly, so do you have a prototype right now, or is that what the MVP phase is going to be?
The MVP phase will be building that prototype, especially with the mechanization.
Desiree, you're on mute if you're looking, but I guess the next question.
Thank you, John David. I'm sorry. I was drinking water and I just didn't want anyone to hear me. Sorry. Go ahead, John David.
Paul, go ahead. Sorry, you already started.
Yeah, I'm happy to do so. So, Sybil, excellent presentation. Can you describe your team for us and or what your ideal team might be like? I did see at the end a slide with some advisors.
My ideal team would consist of a co-founder that has a specialization in tech and product development and management. Additionally, our brand is a brand that wants to provide the best customer service for the people that we're serving. So the team would also consist of a very strong marketing group that can speak to customers appropriately, can develop activities and engagement that will talk to people who are all across this age range, because at any time you can be someone who ends up needing to use a cane. So we need people who are versed with that, who are patient. So it's a very unusual, it's kind of an old-fashioned customer service approach. So that's what I'm looking at in terms of a team. In the beginning, however, before I bring a lot of people on and provide large titles, what I would like to do is to employ them for short periods of time and to—
Sybil, I'm going to cut us off on the hiring part just so John David can get a question in real quick.
Sorry. Yes.
No worries.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time and presentation. It's really interesting and perhaps underserved niche, but I was just curious if you had thought through sort of the IP challenge. You mentioned that the mechanization, the collapsing mechanization is sort of the major IP that you would be, the differentiation you'd be developing the market. But I guess I'm just curious, have you thought about, developing community? What are you going to do to sort of make customers stick with your cane? There could, pretty easy, much bigger players could do some copycat versions. I'm just curious how they're going to stick with Lemonaide, beyond perhaps their first buying experience.
I'm so sorry, we're at time and I really have to be fair. So this question's going to have to go unanswered, but hopefully there's a great IP answer in the follow-up after the show. But in the meantime, the judges have the very difficult job of going to decide who's going to win. Thank you all for hanging out with us through some of the technical challenges. Sybil, way to recover and come back. So glad you made it back on. And now, while the judges go, I'm going to welcome our guest speaker for today. So today we have Kornelius Bankston, who is managing partner and founder of TechPlug. He leads the firm's strategy and business development efforts. He's a graduate of Morehouse College, Emory University, and the Georgia Institute of Technology, where he got his MBA. And the previous one, was MSc in biomolecular chemistry. He also was at the Metro Atlanta Chamber of Commerce, where he launched Global Health ATL to promote Atlanta as a center for global health. And most recently was a director of business development for Color Genomics, leading the company's Southeast business development efforts. So Kornelius, it's great to have you here. You are not from Chicago, which is actually really exciting for our audience today, because we love learning about what's happening in other markets to see how we can collaborate, how we can replicate if it makes sense. And so maybe hopefully you'll take some TechRise back over there to Atlanta too. We can trade.
Yeah, possibly. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. So can you tell us a little bit about what TechPlug is?
Yeah. Thank you for having me. And thank you for the opportunity. TechPlug, we started TechPlug about 4 years ago. We're approaching 5 years, actually. We started TechPlug 5 years ago, before the pandemic. The whole idea was to connect Silicon Valley-based companies within populations that are usually under-resourced and underserved as it relates to health access. So we help startups scale and grow in vulnerable populations and help them to understand how, and help them to be profitable by doing good in the community.
Amazing. I know I'm going off script, but I'm going to get back on script in a minute, but can you share with us some of the companies and the problems that they're solving that you've worked with?
Yeah, great. Yeah. So we have a portfolio of about six companies now. One of them is Simple Health Kit. Simple Health Kit is based in the Fremont, California area. So right there in Silicon Valley, we've been working with them. I've been working with them for 4 years. And so they are a medical diagnostic company. They developed during COVID, a COVID test that was easy to use and deploying in communities that really didn't have resources during that time, and pivoted to STD tests, which are chlamydia, gonorrhea, and trick. It's an at-home test. It's a urine-based test. It's not just a medical diagnostic tool, but it's the wraparound platform where individuals take the test, it loops them into care. They get their results instantly. The great thing about Simple Health Kit, we've been able to secure a Walmart deal. So we secured a Walmart deal, and as of this month, they're expanding in 1,400 stores. And in a few weeks, they're going to announce another retailer that we've been able to secure, and payers as well. So that's one example of like the type of work that we do on our services side with companies.
Amazing. So how do you find the companies that you want to work with and bring
Great
into your
question.
communities?
It's the network. It's really around like VC friends that I've made over the years. They understand our work. They understand the use case as it relates to getting access or getting communities who are typically under-resourced access to innovative solutions so individuals can be proactive about their care. So it comes from payers that we've built relationships as well. And so SVPs of those payers or those plans are looking for ways to actually help curtail those, large claim costs, individuals that probably aren't adhering to their yearly exams and or keeping them compliant around their diabetes. So it's a plethora, it's a spectrum of individuals that we kind of engage and to kind of show them what we're doing and how we're being successful with those companies and community.
That's amazing, and such a smart idea to take people who are at the forefront of solutions and bringing them into places where health equity has not always been a focus or an opportunity. I'm curious where you guys fall in like the flow of revenue. So what's your business model?
Yeah, great. So TechPlug we have 3 pillars. So our first pillar has been our bread and butter for the last 4 years is our services arm. And so we work, as a consultancy, providing insights. So we're typically like these companies' sales team, business development team. So we go out and get their first customers for them. We do that hard lifting, and they use that template to go on and build a sales team around. So that's one arm that's been our bread and butter, the consultancy. We have a brick and mortar space. It's called The Lab by TechPlug, powered by Healthy Blue. That's located here in New Orleans. So I'm in New Orleans on Ursuline and Durgeon. And we're partnering with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Louisiana and Healthy Blue of Louisiana. So they're our powered by sponsor. And this is a brick and mortar space, about 1,800 square feet, that we have cohorts of 3 companies that come in twice a year to address one set problem that's been addressed here in the New Orleans market. So our last cohort was all around maternal health. We bring them into the market. We help them to understand how do you localize your innovations to meet the unique needs of this community. And so we work with them. So that's another vertical. So we get dollars from our partners and sponsorship dollars from that. And then the last vertical that we'll stand up in Q1 of 2024 is our venture arm to actually help close out that loop. So you can see we have a consultancy. We know how to help them to get clients, and then we can bring them here, incubate them a little bit, and then hopefully lift them off so they can continue to do great work and be profitable by doing good in communities that typically are left out or behind.
That's amazing. I'm sorry if I misread my prep and didn't realize that you were in New Orleans, which
yeah, no worries.
Fantastic.
Yeah. No, I'm back and forth. Atlanta's home though. Atlanta's home. Okay,
well,
I'm an Atlanta guy through and through.
Admit the medical crowdfunding platform that I built in 2007, 2008, Give Forward, was inspired by Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. So it has a strong foundation in my social entrepreneurship roots, and we were really a medical crowdfunding platform. So wish you'd been around when I was building. Kind of overlapped, but a long time ago. So, can you tell us a little bit about your career and how you got here? So, most entrepreneurs find their way into their businesses, very different ways. So what was yours?
Yeah, great. It's an interesting question. It's a long question. But
that's okay. The judges aren't back yet. So
they're not back. Okay. So it's very interesting. So it's really it's an amalgamation of all my work experience. And so you read through, I went to, I'm a chemist by training, went to Georgia Tech, So I've always been interested in how do you take an idea from the lab and make it something that people would like to purchase. I always liken it to like Tylenol. How do you go from that idea of having like a small molecule and then they'll be able to market it? So that's where it started. But I was in Atlanta and there was not a whole lot of biotech or farm tech that was happening, or pharmaceutical companies in Atlanta at the time. And so I got into economic development with the state of Georgia. And so I was that guy that would go out and sell Georgia to these large pharmaceutical and biotech companies to locate and expand in Georgia. And then from there, I went on to Morehouse School of Medicine, where I led their tech transfer office, or where I managed their tech transfer office and their clinical and their industry-sponsored clinical trials office as well. So I managed that, got that up and running, and then went back to economic development with the Metro Atlanta Chamber, where I just led an initiative from Atlanta to Silicon Valley. So connecting those entities like Georgia Tech, the CDC, UPS, and Delta to those entities in Silicon Valley, because what we were seeing is a lot of Georgia Tech graduates, a lot of Emory graduates, Morehouse graduates were going to Silicon Valley and wasn't coming back to Atlanta. And so
The
I
same problem.
devised a program. Yes, same problem. They just go there and don't want to come back. You got to keep them.
We're working
gotta
on
figure
it.
that thing out.
I think they just
Yeah,
don't know how many cool things are happening in their hometown, because the narrative of the
Exactly.
alumni is that you just got to go to Silicon Valley, but there's a lot
Yeah,
happening in both of our places. So
exactly. So I led that effort coupled with Global Health ATL to market Atlanta as the global health center in the country. And out of that effort, I got recruited by Color Genomics at the time. They're now called Color, which at the time when I was there, they were really focused on selling their tests around trying to understand your proclivities for certain type of diseases based on your genetics. So led business development for them. And then it was like, okay, these people in Silicon Valley are incredibly smart, but in some cases, they really don't understand how to connect their innovation into communities that are not nascent to them, i.e. a New Orleans, i.e. a rural Georgia community or a rural community in Illinois. And that's where TechPlug really came to be. So it's an amalgamation of my economic development, business development work into this company to say, okay, we understand it's great, your tech is great, but let's help you drive adoption and utilization in community that can really benefit from your technology. We're going to show you how to do it in a very thoughtful and strategic way.
Well, I don't know how many of the startups you got to see today, because we invite you to come in slightly later, but I'm wondering how can our Chicago, health tech companies connect with you, and what are you looking for when you are looking for companies to bring in? What stage should they be? How far along should they be?
I like hard problems. That's right. I for whatever reason, I studied chemistry, and I was like, why am I studying chemistry? And I'm not, and math doesn't come easy to me. So I had to work at it. So I like hard problems. I like those companies that are kind of early in their development. They probably have a small team. They have a little bit of funding, and that could be, hundreds of thousands of dollars, or, still trying to figure it out. And that's where our sweet spot is, pre-Series A. We can get you to a Series A. Series B really isn't where I would like to sit, because it becomes a bit bigger company. I like to kind of help mold where we're going and really kind of understand what that customer is and actually help drive utilization and adoption. So around the Series A or younger, I would say is where we really kind of find our sweet spot. And then, inviting companies here to New Orleans, because most people are like, okay, what are you looking for? Any company that's addressing the social determinants of health, transportation, access, these large problems as it relates to maternal health, as it relates to adherence to prescriptions, as it relates to chronic disease management. So around blood pressure, diabetes, those innovative ways, because we understand that health and people, there's a whole spectrum, and it's not like a one size fit all. And so those are the kind of big buckets that we look at when we engage with companies.
Incredible. So we'll definitely tell our health tech startups to come check you out, although we will not let them move there. So you can borrow them for 90 days or something. And then does it coincide with Mardi Gras?
You could come down for Mardi Gras. That's a good thing. We should plan some things around Mardi Gras. But it's so busy. The city literally shuts down for Mardi Gras. So there's nothing going on. We get no business done at all.
Yeah, it's been my 19th birthday there. I remember it was very
fun. So you will know. So
Yes. I think they're about to come back. But as I guess anything that's really exciting in your future, or any ways that we can be helpful, like what's the next 2 quarters look like for you guys?
2 quarters, we're actually launching our second cohort coming in the next couple of months. We do a lot of community engagement activities, and that's one thing I think health tech companies should understand is, yes, you have an amazing product and it might be the golden egg on the shelf, but if no one's taking it off the shelf to utilize it, it's just going to become dusty. And so we really believe in community engagement, bringing people into your organizations to understand what this shiny object and this golden object is, so they can feel empowered to use it, so they can be empowered so they can be proactive about their
proactive.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. And so I think that's something, a takeaway that I would encourage those that are developing devices or therapeutics to kind of think through, is like, what's your community engagement strategy? Because that helps drive your customer strategy at the end.
I think you're absolutely right. User-centric design is critical, but it can be hard in healthcare because it's a hard group to sometimes identify. So it's great advice.
That's very true.
Judges, I think you're back. So if you don't mind joining us, Kornelius, thank you so much for coming on. And hopefully I can't wait to come visit you guys, for the next cohort.
All right now.
Great having you. All right, judges, come on if you could, and then founders come back on so they can announce the winner. Who's announcing today?
I have the honor of announcing today.
All right, Barb, thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. So you want to give us the runner-up, which matters because the runner-up is in the running for the grand finale of a $100,000 prize. And then the winner, of course, wins the $25,000 prize. So who is our runner-up today?
So we actually have two runners-up. So
whoa, throwing a wrench in our plans. Okay.
Very tough deliberation. Everyone did a fantastic job solving some really tough, sticky problems. So very encouraged for humanity today. So thank you all for presenting. Our two runners-up are UpTrials and Visualize Healthcare.
Congrats. You all will be in the running for the finale. All right. And then who is our winner?
And our winner today is PainNavigator.
Oh,
Wow.
congratulations.
Wow.
Kelly, I don't know if you want to say any words.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. You all know how much this means to me and my family. So super happy, and this will keep us afloat. So thank you.
Congratulations to all the founders, and thank you as always to Stephen at Verizon for joining us and helping the judges navigate the very difficult decision. And founders, congratulations to all of you. You're building really critical technologies and services and products. And so we're honored that you shared the stage with us today. And as a reminder, this is not the only time you're welcome on the TechRise stage. So we'll hopefully have you back for your turn to win. But have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and sending peace and love to everyone.